Brodana, in her Alzalbo form, has her paws on the controls of the planetarium, ready to undo the curse that has plagued her. The rest of the party stands ready, unsure about what is about to happen. Drogog sets down his astrolabe and says, Brodana, just think about this. Think about what you're going to do. Looking into the eyes of a beast, he cannot tell what is about to happen. Hello and welcome back. It's Fear Hoppers. I am your host and storyteller, Royce Rosewood. We are in the midst of our Stygian Library campaign, taking our party characters from Troika and Gozer. Current situation. Brodana wants to use the planetarium to reverse time, to undo her curse, but that would mean that her body will be returned to its state, but then there will be a live Alzalbo in the planetarium, and that is no good and no fun for anyone. Just a little meta thought that what I've been thinking in the past week. In the Troika campaign, we were sort of telling this story of Brodana, right? She gets consumed by the Alzalbo and takes over it, and she's getting used to this new body, and she sort of seemed like she was coming to accept it, coming to come to terms with it. And now sort of the way things have played out with the secret that we didn't know about, and then we're in this planetarium, it all just sort of came together, and it's like, oh, she's struggling in this body. She wants to undo it. So, and I'm not really sure which is, the better path. We will let the dice decide. Zamzis comes up, the negotiator, the peacemaker that they are, and says, Brodana, I do not know this beast that which you are, but it looks fearsome indeed. It would put us all in grave danger for you to do this. Please, if you want to do this, at least give us some time to prepare. That way, we may be able to stage a trap for this beast. All right. Zamzis is going to test negotiation. We got to roll under 7. That's a 10. No. Brodana says, you don't know what it's like being in this thing, having these paws. I can't even do my job. I can't fulfill the purpose that I've been given, taking care of the Library of Diaprise. No, none of you understand. None of you know. And places this big paw on the control of the planetarium and shifts this lever. The stars and the celestial bodies ahead start to whirl, and they are retreated back in time in reverse, I guess it's regurgitated by the Alzalbo, and then is assembled, in her human form, and then the Alzalbo is there. And there is now a confused, angry Alzalbo in the planetarium, in the Stygian Library, and we're going to be in combat. Because we undid the curse, we also undo all of the injuries, so everybody recovers their full stamina, which is most relevant to Suvara, who had taken quite a beating in the fight with the spider. I have some simple stats for Brodana's human form, but, she's a librarian. She's not a combatant, so I don't really expect her to be super relevant to this fight. And then here's our, stats from the Troika book, which is where the Alzalbo came from. This is why everybody's worried. It's got a skill of 10. It's got a stamina of 21, initiative of 4, damages large beast. I mean, this thing is, we're not messing around here. This is dangerous. All right, so here's the starting situation. We can imagine, the planetarium, and there's controls in the center of the room, and there's sort of a domed room, and we know there's shelves all around with stacks of wrapped paper with string. Drogog and Zamzis were the most close to the Alzalbo, and Cam and Suvara are maybe a little bit further back in this circular room. All right, who's up first? Suvara. Suvara draws her sword and runs in, charges, slashing at the Alzalbo. She's got a skill of 6, and the Alzalbo has a skill of 10. So the Alzalbo gets a total of a +4 on this roll. All right. So the Elzabo will have it. Damage roll 4. It's going to be 10 damage on Suvara. Ouch. Takes her down to 11. So Suvara runs up. She's got her sword. She's charging. And the Elzabo just takes a swipe, just bats her aside, sends her flying to the ground. This is no good. Who's next? Dragog is up. Dragog has a 7 in Astrolabe fighting. Total of +3 for the Elzabo. All right. And Dragog is also not able to get a hit. Damage. Okay, just 1 damage for taking his stamina down to 14. So Dragog brings up his giant Astrolabe, trying to swing at the Elzabo, who, is a little bit distracted, but the Elzabo comes around, knocks Dragog, also kind of knocks the wind out of him. All right. The Elzabo is up. The Elzabo, voice mimic that it is, able to recreate the voices of those that it's consumed, summons up this little girl voice and says, why are you doing this? Stop. We'll just roll. We'll go, what? Dragog, Suvara, Zamzes, Brodana. Oh, goes for Brodana. So it's been released, right? And it's was trapped all that time, and it's now taking its revenge back out on Brodana, which is not great because she doesn't have any fighting skills. Elzabo's going to get a +5 on this one. Yeah, that'll hit. 3, that's 8 damage, taking Brodana down to 8. Lunges at her and grabs her and is just shaking around like a rag doll. It's mad. All right, who's next? Cam. All right, I think the best thing at this point is for Cam to cast Wizard Spear. Ooh. And fails. So Cam is kind of freaking out, trying to, summon this Wizard Spear, but there's a huge monster and they just can't concentrate. They're just no, it's not working. Suvara. The Elzabo's got a +4 in this roll. Ooh, that's a fumble on Suvara's part. The Elzabo gets +1 to its damage roll. 5 plus is 6. That's 14 damage. Suvara is down. Gets back up. She's got her sword. She's run into the Elzabo and again just gets slammed into the shelves that collapse around her, and she falls and she does not get back up. All right. Zamzes, seeing this, thinks that maybe it's time to get out of here. So they retreat. They grab Suvara's body and begin dragging it towards the exit that they know is going to go into the paper beehive. So we'll make that a strength test just to see if they're able to do that quickly. 9. No. So they're still able to, move Survivor, but it's just, it's taking a long time. They haven't made as much progress as they maybe would have wanted to. All right. The Elzabo goes. Still going against Brodana. Got +5. Oops. Yep. Elzabo gets the hit. Damage die, that's 5. 12 damage for Brodana. Brodana is done. The Elzabo's got Brodana in its mouth and, consumes her again. Which would mean, right, because we didn't undo her protective spell, right? She still got her protective spell. So whatever it did the first time, it's just this replay, right? Brodana's protective spell is still able to let her take control back of the Elzabo. The Elzabo's now, confused. Brodana's consciousness is back in the Elzabo, fighting for control. So that's where that is at. We'll see what happens next. All right. Brodana I'm just going to give her a roll just to see, how quickly she can take over, if she's able to take over the Alzabo right away. Rolling under 5. Okay. So she rolled 4 under 5. So her protective spell is still active. Her consciousness takes back over the Alzabo, and she's back where she was. She tried to undo this thing. The fallout of that is that, people got hurt. And Suvara is definitely injured. Zamzis takes to healing Suvara. She eats a ration. Okay, so that's 1d6. Okay, that's just 1 stamina. Oh, you know what? I was not taking into account Suvara's armor. That would have played out differently, I think, but still pretty high rolls on account of the Alzabo. Oh, sorry, Suvara. So things kind of calmed down. Brodana's back into her Alzabo form. And Dragog, approaches cautiously and says, I'm sorry. I know you are not happy with this state of affairs, but I hope you can see now what you're keeping back, right? If you undo this, it's just going to unleash that monster back on the world. And I know this isn't fair. I know you didn't choose this. But for us, at least right now, until we can find some other way, you're going to have to stay inside that beast. And Brodana nods her, giant head. Says, I see. Yes, I'm very sorry for the harm I've caused. Suvara, she calls out, I'm so sorry. And Suvara, leaning up against the shelves, Zamzi's, feeding her, kind of gives a thumbs up. It's like, it's all right. That was tough fight. Good fight. They know that this next level is going to be the paper beehive. They hear the buzzing, and they saw the paper bees that they've been following. They decide to keep moving forward, even though Suvara's taking a beating. Everybody else is pretty good. Heading down. Depth is 10. We know it is the paper beehive because of an earlier discovery. Details. It's a d20 plus depth. 20 plus 30 is watchful. And the random event is 14. A cache of treasure and a chest of drawers. So Watchful says, this room is under constant observation. Those present feel like they are constantly being scrutinized, assessed, and judged. Set into the corner where the wall meets the ceiling, there are 4 dark glass orbs, each one containing a dull purple mist that swirls idly. The mist is a phantom that has been set to watch what happens in the room and remember it, so that the librarians can learn from its observations. The Paper Beehive. The room here is infested with vermin, bees the size of a human hand. They built a hive against one wall out of papier-mâché, layers of pages built up into a blister-like nest 12 feet across that stretches from floor to ceiling. Although the entrances the bees use are only a few inches across, you can get into the beehive pretty easily simply by cutting through its paper walls. The black honey is made without flowers. Instead, bees harvest ink from open books and blood from corpses. Over time, the bees condense and refine the honey, producing a substance dense with magical potential. There are bees on guard in the room. So long as the players don't harm the guard bees or their hive, the bees will ignore them. So Cam sniffs and says, "What's that smell? Oh, it smells like sweet honey inside. I wanna taste it. I wanna try some." So I said the openings are a few inches across. Cam is a pretty small creature. Might be able to put a hand in and take out some honey without disturbing the bees and the hive. We'll make it a skill test. Before Cam tries, we're going to get the treasure first, in case this goes bad. 9 plus 10 is 19. A bottle of enchanted ink, invisible to nobles, police, soldiers, and anybody in a position of legal authority. Brodana will pick that up. So roll under 5. Oops. Nope, that's a 9. They try to reach in, break the thin paper hive, and disturb the bees, and they bounce around, and the bees, start to get mad, and start to, buzz and attack, and they're just going to get out of here. They just survived a bad fight. They're not going to fight, hundreds of bees, it said. We're going to run blind. We haven't done this yet. So they go 1d4 minus 1 layers deeper, but reset progress. Oh, that sucks. Oh well. All right. So they don't actually go deeper because it's 1 minus 1. They lose their progress and they don't know where they are. So we're going to roll some other room here on level 10, and they don't know how it connects. Reset progress to 15. Remember, they have to get a progress of 35 or they have to get to a depth of 15. The bees and chase them off. The party runs out, and now they have no idea where they are. They're totally turned around. Dragog is pretty upset, at the little progress that they had made. It's now gone. All right, 10 plus 10 is 20. Phantom databanks. 5 plus 10 glass tubes, and the random event. 6. Something turns up badly injured, totally lost, or otherwise at a disadvantage. Roll on the encounters table. They find themselves in a new room, having fled the bees. The room is crisscrossed with glass tubes fastened to the ceiling and walls that snake over the tops of the shelves. What the tubes carry? Roll twice on a d8. They carry brandy and pressurized air, and the phantom databanks. This room contains a set of shelves against one wall. Each shelf holds a row of glass jars. Each jar has a set of wires emerging from it, linking to a small machine at the end of each shelf that displays the pressure, temperature, emotional state, and acidity of each jar's contents on a set of dials. Each phantom appears as a condensed mist, thrashing wildly. Something shows up disadvantaged in this room. 16 plus 10... 26. Escaped fiction. Once, these beings were mere characters in a storybook, but now they've clawed their way out into the fractally dense information cloud of the library. They're not truly real, but it's hard to tell. They're very convincing. They subconsciously crave reality, to warp the real world around their narrative so that they are part of the everyday order of things. Reality obliges. Where they pass, things alter to fit the fiction they have emerged from. You are playing by their rules now. 8. Bluebeard, a dashingly handsome murderer of his many wives. They come into this room. There are pipes with brandy and pressurized air crisscrossing. And there's all these jars with these phantoms. And they've seen these phantoms a couple of times, right? Once we used as lights. And in the previous room, they sort of felt watched by them. This is the first time they're seeing them labeled. And, they notice that it's emotional state, and it's like, oh, wait, are these living things? I don't know if this is the case. I don't know if this is the character that this is in reference to. I'll have to look it up. But I'm assuming that Bluebeard is a pirate captain. So that's how I'm going to play it for now. And then in the intervening time, I will look up this story and read it. And no, it's funny because of the 12 that are here. They've got Don Quixote, Frankenstein, Grendel, Faust. This is the only one that I'm not really sure which one it is. Hi all, Royce from the future here. Turns out Bluebeard is not a pirate captain. He comes from a French folktale about a man who murders his wives. So he's supposed to be seductive and then murderous. But I didn't know that. Of all the characters on the list, that was the one I didn't know. So playing it as a pirate captain. It seems plausible that a fictional pirate captain could also be on this list, so that's what we're going to go with. But know that this is not what Bluebeard is. Badly injured, damaged, sort of running. Also, from another direction comes this, pirate. He says, mateys. I see ye be in trouble too. Me too. I'm making you all my crew, and I'm taking you with me down. We gotta find some treasure. I'm going to be really embarrassed if this Bluebeard is not a pirate at all, but that's how I'm playing it. Dragog says, well, hold on. We're here to, we're here doing our own thing. And Bluebeard, draws a cutlass and says, ye be fighting with me? Ye be on my crew now. I'm the captain now, and you're all coming with me. And we're heading deeper. Depth of 11. 13 plus 11 is 24. Siphon of Phantoms. Details. 14 plus 11, 25. Spirit Illumination. Because Bluebeard is kind of harrying them, Normally we roll on a d20 if they're aware and like sort of searching. But in this case, I'm going to roll the d12 so they get a more limited range of encounters. 10. An ominous ticking can be heard from beneath the floorboards. Nothing happens yet. Next time you would roll on the random events table in this location, roll twice instead. All right, so we've seen this spirit illumination before, right? It's the phantoms that get shaken and that makes the light. But this room is the Siphon of Phantoms. In the center of this room is a hollow metal cone, narrow at its base and broad at the top, riddled with holes the size of a finger. The whole thing is like a huge sea sponge or coral made of etched metal. The hollow space within the conical siphon is filled with glass vials. Some are empty, and some contain condensed phantoms like a wriggling turquoise mist. Thin glass tubes and wires link the vials to one another and to the exposed plumbing of the library like some huge alchemist's distillery. Whenever someone dies in the library, their soul is inexorably drawn towards the siphon. While they only may drift a few feet closer each day, the siphon acts like the nearly inescapable gravity well of a black hole on the spiritual plane. A few souls not yet converted to phantoms can be seen hanging in the air as dim shimmers oozing closer to the siphon inch by inch. A soul sucked into the siphon is drawn through various channels and tubes, compressed and distorted and rendered down by the process until only a phantom remains. Once this process is complete, which takes a few minutes, the machine gives a cheerful ding, and another glass vial is filled with a new phantom. So they're seeing all this, and they're seeing these like ghosts and souls getting drawn into this giant thing, and the little phantoms getting shaken in their jars to get lit up. And then they're seeing the process of this soul being wrenched and condensed down into these phantoms, and it's like they've seen in the previous room. And, you know, Dragog is looking at this and saying, well, what is going on here? And Bluebeard says, yes, the Siphon of Phantoms. Anything that dies in the library, its soul gets drawn towards here, and its soul gets turned into a phantom. And as you can see, the phantoms are what make the library go. And Dragog says, this whole library is run on the souls of people who die here. That's what makes the library work. And Bluebeard says, arr. And Dragog isn't sure how he feels about that. But they also hear this ticking, and Bluebeard says, no, we got to keep moving. We can't stay here for long. Come, let's go. And yes, I know there are 5 of them and 1 of him, but this is part of, right, the reality warping of him, that I assume he's a captain. They're all kind of going along with the sort of not really understanding what's happening, getting led deeper and deeper into the library. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here just because not much happened in the next few rooms. Bluebeard continued to make the party believe that they were part of his pirate crew, and they found a very large room full of stuffed mythical animals, and they found another room that had a calculation engine in it, that, you know, the computer where they could ask questions. There was gusts of wind blowing in and out, but other than that, that's all that happened. So we're going to fast forward to the next room on level 14. 9 plus 14 is 23. An ossuary. Details. 19 plus 14, 33. Semi-corporeal. And random events. 3. Something is disturbed while eating or reading. Roll in the encounters table. 11 plus 14, 25. An archivist lich. Right, so this room is semi-corporeal. This location's contents flicker in and out of reality, existing partially in a misty, ethereal state and partly in normal physicality. Ossuary. A collection of bones, packed tetra-style into 6 glass-fronted display cases, each neatly labeled with who it was taken from, when it was taken, the circumstances of their death, and what killed them. So they come into this room. It's kind of like blinking in and out. It sort of seems really shifty, kind of coming in and out, and it's full of all these bones, packed and displayed and labeled. And there is an archivist lich here. A once mortal scholar whose need to see their work finished has seen them seamlessly transition into undeath. Hundreds of years old, consumed by their research. Little more than a dusty skeleton in a robe by now. An impressive intelligence, highly educated, well-spoken, polite, and genteel. Obsessive. Has been exploring the library for decades. Roll D100 twice on the types of book table to determine the nature of the lich's research. 13. Works about parallel worlds. 22. Heretical translations of holy scriptures. Bluebeard's kind of pushing them, saying, hey, keep going, keep going. And they see this archivist lich who looks up and is looking at particular bones and sort of turns and says, oh, get out of here, you escaped fiction. And Bluebeard says, are ye be joining me crew too? And the archivist lich says, no, I don't think so. Does the archivist lich have some sort of way to dispel? I don't know. Seems likely. We've got a little mythic chart just to see. 44. Yes. And that would, if we were playing mythic, that would be a random event too. But the archivist lich sort of like takes this bony hand and like kind of does like a little, kind of spell with it and goes, be gone. And Bluebeard goes off and goes, and everyone sort of comes back to their senses. Reality starts to like shape back and they're no longer on a pirate crew. And what was that? We were following this pirate captain. That was really strange. And the archivist lich is sorry that you had to encounter that. There are, strange things in this library that can be distracting. Fortunately, in my time, I've learned to avoid such distractions as I keep focusing on my studies. Dragog says, oh, well, maybe you can help us. We are looking for the sphere of the gods. Let's see. And the archivist lich said, parallel worlds and heretical texts. And we know, right, Dragog's position that the sphere of the gods exists somewhere like that can be reached and like navigated and calculated was heresy, right? And so it could be, and we've got these doubles here. Yeah, it could be the archivist lich, knows exactly what they mean. And we're almost at depth, maybe it'll say, oh, yes, that is quite close to my particular area of research. Come with me. Just one layer deeper. And Dragog says, oh, thank you. What's your name? I had this, I have my name chart that I am using, but I had a viewer of the channel, I believe their handle is Cat from Hamburg, Germany, send me this player chart, and I figured I'd try it out, use it to name at least one thing. So we'll use it to name this archivist lich. So there's a whole bunch of columns, and it's sort of flexible how you use it, but I'll just kind of choose one from the first column and the second column and put them together until I've got something that seems interesting. All right, 76, Lou, 82, Lich, 53, Luich Pelt. We'll go 1, 2, 3, he, she, they, he. 16 plus 15 is 31, Jarred Brains. 17 plus 15 is 32, Time Locked. 8, Unexpected Gust of Wind. Okay. Time Locked. This room is paused in time. Unless living beings make a conscious effort to move and change things, everything is in stasis. And this room is full of jarred brains. The shelves here are lined with glass jars, each filled with a clear fluid. An intact human brain floats in the fluid, with wires linking where the spinal column would be to a small mechanism set in the jar's base. They come into this room, they sort of feel time slow down and stop. It's very strange in this room filled with jars and, of course, books, as all the rooms in the library are. Okay, so we're here. We finally made the depth of 15. We find what we're looking for, right? The location of the sphere of the gods and the meaning of these spheres. So Lich Pelt finds a particular book, reaches out with bony fingers and says, yes, here you are. Yes, to get to the sphere of the gods. Heresy, many think, but that is what I study. And the parallel world, yes, let us see, yes. Many have failed to reach the sphere of the gods, because in order to do that, you must have what are called the orbs of... Let's roll another name. I'll roll on these deity name table that I've got. 74. Ra. 69. Raoria. Yes, in order to reach the sphere of the gods, you must have the orbs of Raoria. Not only are these extremely difficult to find, there are many of them, and you have to find all of them. And additionally, they will only open up the way to the sphere of the gods if they are currently in a particular state. They are supposed to make a certain music. This is why this knowledge has been forgotten. It is incredibly hard to get all the pieces and the time. Cam says, is that what this is? And Cam pulls out the weird sphere, which we now know is called the Orb of Raoria. And I think it's humming too. The Witch Pelt says, by the gods, yes, that is it. That is one of them. And Dragog is like putting this all together. He's like, wait. So you're saying that in order to get to the sphere of the gods, I need to find more of these orbs? I've seen them. I've seen 3 others. That's 4. How many are there? A D8? There are 2 more? Okay, so there are 6. The Witch Pelt says, there are 6. If you have this and you know where 3 others are, then there are only 2 more that you would need to find. This is extraordinary, and they are currently humming. You must move quickly. This opportunity will not stay for very long. This is really close to the subject of Lich Pelt's research. Are they going to want to come? We'll call it unlikely that they want to come. 33. That's under. And another random event if we were using Mythic. Lich Pelt says, You must allow me to come with you. Please, this is beyond my wildest dreams, and that you should come here at the time that it's opened. I can't believe this. This is extraordinary. Dragog says, okay, so what do we need to do? We need to go find the other 3 orbs. Okay, well, I know who they were given to. We'll just have to track those down, and then we just have to find 2 more. Yes, but time is short. I don't know how much time we will have. They are currently humming. Please, take me with you. And we are going to stop it there, friends. We have found what we were looking for, the sphere of the gods and what these orbs are. Turns out it's the same thing, and there's somebody here who was looking for that too. That's crazy and weird. Thanks so much for following along. Please like, subscribe, and share. This is Science Fantasy Awesome, and you are awesome.